Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Shravanam Diaries Podcast.
Reading Bhagavad Gita as it is, the book by His Divine Grace Abhay Charanaravinda Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, Chapter 6, Dhyana Yoga, Text 10. Yogi yunjita satatam atmanam rahasi sthita ekaki yata chittatma nirashir aparigraha. A transcendentalist should always engage his body, mind, and self in relationship with the Supreme. He should live alone in a secluded place and should always carefully control his mind. He should be free from desires and feelings of possessiveness. Purport. Krishna is realized in different degrees as Brahman, Paramatma, and the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Krishna consciousness means, concisely, to be always engaged in the transcendental, loving service of the Lord. But those who are attached to the impersonal Brahman or the localized Supersoul are also partially Krishna conscious, because the impersonal Brahman is the spiritual ray of Krishna, and the Supersoul is the all-pervading partial expansion of Krishna. Thus, the impersonalist and the meditator are also indirectly Krishna conscious. A directly Krishna conscious person is the topmost transcendentalist, because such a devotee knows what is meant by Brahman and Paramatma. His knowledge of the absolute truth is perfect, whereas the impersonalist and the meditative yogi are imperfectly Krishna conscious. Nevertheless, all of these are instructed herewith to be constantly engaged in their particular pursuits, so that they may come to the highest perfection sooner or later. The first business of a transcendentalist is to keep the mind always on Krishna. One should always think of Krishna and not forget him, even for a moment. Concentration of the mind on the Supreme is called samadhi or trance. In order to concentrate the mind, one should always remain in seclusion and avoid disturbance by external objects. He should be very careful to accept favorable and reject unfavorable conditions that affect his realization. And in perfect determination, he should not hanker after unnecessary material things that entangle him by feelings of possessiveness. All these perfections and precautions are perfectly executed when one is directly in Krishna consciousness, because direct Krishna consciousness means self-abnegation, wherein there is very little chance for material possessiveness. Srila Rupa Goswami characterizes Krishna consciousness in this way. Anasaktasya vishayan yathartham upayunjataha nirbandha Krishna sambandhe yuktam vairagyam uchyate prapanchikataya budhya hari sambandhi vastuna mumukshubi parityago vairagyam falgu kathaye. Quote, when one is not attached to anything, but at the same time accepts everything in relation to Krishna, one is rightly situated above possessiveness. On the other hand, one who rejects everything without knowledge of its relationship to Krishna is not as complete in his renunciation. Unquote. Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu 1.2.255 to 256. A Krishna conscious person well knows that everything belongs to Krishna, and thus he is always free from feelings of personal possession. As such, he has no hankering for anything on his own personal account. He knows how to accept things in favor of Krishna consciousness and how to reject things unfavorable to Krishna consciousness. He is always aloof from material things because he is always transcendental. And he is always alone, having nothing to do with persons not in Krishna consciousness. Therefore, a person in Krishna consciousness is a perfect yogi. See, these things that are usually mentioned, that a yogi or transcendentalist, he's always silent. So Srila Prabhupada explains in different parts of Bhagavad Gita that he is silent. A devotee is always silent because he only talks about Krishna. Or here, right, Prabhupada says, he's always alone. He has nothing to do with persons who are not in Krishna consciousness. But he will associate with devotees. Or it says that he doesn't possess anything, but he will engage anything, accept everything in relation to Krishna. But that's the point, that if it doesn't have a relationship with Krishna, it doesn't have relationship with Krishna, it doesn't have utility in serving Krishna, then the person will not possess it, the devotee. Or, like here it says, if it's favorable to Krishna consciousness, he will accept. He doesn't hanker for anything for his own personal account. And thus, he's free from feelings of material, personal possession. Okay. Next couple of verses, it will be described about how yogis practice Ashtanga Yoga. I would really want it all to be in one, together. So today we shall stop at this point and meditate on possessiveness. And actually, when it comes to higher levels of spiritual realization and devotional stages, then devotees, they have this feeling of possessiveness towards Krishna. Like today during the class, somebody asked Bimla Prasad Prabhu about Radha Krishna Prana Mora, and Bimla Prasad Prabhu was saying that actually this bhajan is very, very confidential, because Radha Krishna Prana Mora, there is this feeling of possessiveness. Krishna is mine, and it is actually the epitome, or how do you call it, the pinnacle of that possessiveness is Srimati Radharani, who's saying that Krishna is mine. And right now there is Kartik month, Damodar month, and Yashoda Mai, Yashoda Devi, she binds Krishna, like this parental affection, that possessiveness of Krishna, like she's able to bind him, bind the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So these feelings of material possessiveness, he's free from that, because the more we feel like, of course I can't say that right now we're going to the level of like Krishna is mine. It's a very elevated level, but this is what we aspire for. And on that level, this, of course, like spirit soul has naturally that we want to direct our affection and love somewhere, and that's why we are basically involved in all this material scene that, I want to possess. Like, somebody wants to possess riches, somebody wants to possess fame, somebody wants to possess some knowledge or some status or some other person, somebody wants to possess like their partner in life, like their spouse or children. I've seen such strong possessiveness of the children, but basically all of this is a perverted reflection of how we want to possess, meaning like how we want to have in our life that feeling of, like, Krishna, you're mine, or Krishna, I'm yours. This is in its pure form. Yeah. All right, so we shall continue tomorrow. And last point, major point that I wanted to emphasize again, that we read in the purport, that basically what to possess if nothing really belongs to us, right? Like, it's a false understanding, false possession that, oh, this is mine and this is mine. If everything belongs to Krishna, like in Ishopanishad it says, Ishavasyam idam sarvam, that the Lord, He is the Ishvara, He actually, everything belongs to Him. So in that way, even if we don't have the understanding yet that Krishna is mine, of course it's a long way to go to understand that, to realize that, or to aspire that, to have that relationship with the Supreme, that to have that feeling of possessiveness of the Lord, or even to feel possessive about our, spiritual practice. Some devotees there, like my Srila Prabhupada, like my spiritual master, or my japa, my kirtan, like my devotional service, that feeling of, my seva, my service to the Lord. Like, in some way it's healthy to have that feeling of, gratitude for having that service, and to feel some sort of attachment to the service, to chanting, to hearing Bhagavatam, my Srimad Bhagavatam. But also, like, we can begin that journey by simply understanding that nothing really belongs to us, that Krishna actually owns everything. He is the supreme owner. He has given us this material body. He has given us everything. It's one example also Bhaktivedanta Maharaj gives many times, is that you walk into a store, you walk into the shop, and you say, I renounce everything. That didn't really belong to you. It's the shop's property. You can't walk into the house and say, I renounce it. It never really was yours. So similarly, like, it's one thing to say, like, I don't have any feelings of possessiveness of anything. That's nice. You didn't really possess anything in the first place. Okay, that just wanted to emphasize that myself, to remember, of course. Yeah, nice. Hare Krishna. Thank you so much for tuning in today. The book links, previous episodes timeline, and biography of the author can be found on shravanamdiaries.com. The link is in the description, and we shall see you tomorrow. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare